Hello and welcome to episode number 5 of this Bootstrapped life. It's a little hard to believe that we're already there at episode 5, but I think it's like getting to the point where it's a habit now. This is getting to be a lot of fun, and I actually look forward to recording these now, which is really cool. This week's going to be a little bit shorter because there's not too much happening before I embark on my trip to Miami, Seattle, and Vancouver, which I'll talk more about later. But as far as the business goes this week, it's been interesting. I've had a lot more existential questions about it recently for actually at least two reasons. One, I went to this party in SF last weekend that was probably the first time in SF where I went to an event and I felt kind of intimidated, definitely challenged around what I was building and why I'm here. Because I was in a room with what seemed like a bunch of venture-backed founders, going through like Y Combinator and other accelerators. And there are moments where I was having conversations with people and I kind of felt less than in a way for being like bootstrapped and doing what is, at least in part, a services business. And it made me wonder, like, what am I doing? It gave me a lot of food for thought, which, is great. Like, I, in the moment, didn't feel great, but I kind of felt, I didn't feel bad about feeling bad, if that makes sense. I was happy to have a moment where I felt so challenged. It gave me a lot to write about, to think about the following day in my journal. And you know what? I think it's great to take these opportunities and view them as positives. Like, what can you get from these experiences where you feel like you were, challenged in a new way or an uncomfortable way? So I welcomed it, not in the moment, not too much in the moment at least, but after the fact, I think it was good for me. It did give me some pause. It did raise ambitions, but not in like a pie in the sky kind of way where I'm then thinking about some like $1 billion thing that has like a 1% chance of success. I think for me, it still matters a lot. And what I've realized, matters a lot to build a business that will be around in a decade. That's really my goal here. I'm trying to do the thing that I would do even if I had almost all the money in the world. If I were retired tomorrow, I'd still want to build things ultimately. And yeah, sure, maybe I'd be doing less or no client work if I were completely loaded, but I'd still be building stuff. I'd still be starting a product studio. I might still have a team of some kind. And so to me, what I'm doing aligns with that. But it was still an interesting moment where I had to really grapple with my vision. Because at the end of the day, I've been here for 2 months, which it's weird because when I say 2 months, in some moments it feels so long. In other moments, it feels so short, Like, part of me feels like, oh, what have I done in these last 2 months? In other moments, I'm like, oh, wow, I've done a lot. I've gone to a lot of events. I've met tons of people and established, been integrated in a community here. But yeah, it's interesting how we can flip flop. Even when we think we're in a like good mental state, you still have your days where you just don't feel 100% there, and you still feel a little more fragile in a way. And yeah, I embrace it. To me, it's I think cities like this can be a mirror for anything that's going wrong for us internally, whether it's insecurities, we start to project things that don't really exist. I think it's good to experience that and to understand the way that you view reality or the ways in which you don't view reality and how you can work on that disparity. So that's what I've been grappling with. Well, that's one of the things that in the past week that has caused me to have these thoughts. The second thing is that I have started talking to another engineer that's based in SF actually. And this has been interesting because he's a really very thoughtful guy and has done his research on what consultancies or agencies can and perhaps should look like when done well in this boutique format where you can offer so much to each of your clients. We're not just offering the same service over and over again ad nauseum to the same, the n number of clients. We really take in each client and cater our services completely to them, including the way our business model, the way in which we work with them, the services we actually offer. Everything is not at all set in stone, essentially. And there's value in that. There's value in being a studio that is willing to get dirty in these different ways, is open-minded and flexible, adaptable. And I do love being a generalist, and so I don't at all mind that that's how it's working so far. But there are some considerations when you do offer so much, and when you are willing to really put yourself through the ringer for some of your clients. And so I'm learning more and more what our value proposition is, how valuable we are, and how I can grow this thing. So yeah, this engineer that I've been talking with, he's a lot more than that. He's not just like an engineer. I think he's also been challenging me in these different ways. And, I've been welcoming it. I think people like that are going to really only help me move forward faster. And so like, I don't, I might have strongly held beliefs, but they're loosely held. Or I might have strong beliefs, but loosely held. Such that if I do encounter good reasoning, good logic, I absolutely adapt my position. And so this week, my position has been adapting on, how valuable we are and what we can offer clients and how we can grow this thing, improve deal flow, really lean into what we're good at and sell that confidence to clients, that security, that trust, and maintain that trust over time too. There's just so much that it's involved in an agency, consultancy, whatever. Because, I've been saying this recently too. It's like you're like a part-time therapist because you talk to different clients and you have to assuage them. You have to say like, hey, I hear you. I hear your problems. We got this. We will solve them. And in that way, I think I realized that I enjoy that. I actually, with becoming more of an extrovert, I've also learned that I actually enjoy hearing these different technical problems and challenges and being like, oh, I got it. I can fix that for you. So, but it's also important to not just do that at like super low rates and to undervalue yourself, because the reality is the stronger your rates, the better your culture can be internally. And I think the better your culture can be internally, then the better the product that you create, externally as well. I think deal flow, your rates, your products, all of those are intertwined. And so I want to make sure that we're on a healthy trajectory. We're taking care of ourselves. We're valuing ourselves. And we're passing on a certain degree of security to our clients. So this has been good. I think these two experiences in the past week have altered the trajectory of this company, for better or for worse, but I think for better. because what hasn't changed is my belief that what I'm building, I want it to last. And I'm going to do everything I can to make that the case. I'm still going to be conservative in some areas. I'm still going to make sure that we're not at risk of being unable to run payroll in any given month, 3 month, 6 month period, etc. To me, it matters a lot. As soon as, when it's just me, I'm happy to take more risks. I think I'm actually a pretty risk tolerant person. I think it's part of why I'm doing this. And I think if I weren't like that, it'd be a hard sell to do this kind of thing, because I'm putting a lot on the line. I'm putting my name on the line. I'm putting a lot of money on the line. I'm putting a lot of time on the line. I am working harder than before. I'm working more hours than before, than when I was working at a full-time thing. So there are a lot of sacrifices here. There are a lot of challenges, but as I might have said recently, or I definitely had written in my newsletter, which will be linked to down below if you're curious, I'm working harder than ever before, but I'm also more fulfilled than ever before. I feel so far from being at risk of burnout, because I think I'm really enjoying what I'm doing right now. I'm enjoying the clients, their problems, their challenges, the tech that I get to use. And I'm also really enjoying our product studio. I think we're starting to incubate some really cool ideas, and it's only a matter of time before they snowball. And I do have to remind myself too that these things take time. At the end of the day, again, this thing is like a few months old, and it's great that we have revenue, that we have the revenue that we have, and that we have the team that we have. I think our team is great. And something that I've also been thinking about this past week, and that I think I'm seeing reflected in multiple areas of my life right now, is that it's important to be selective in all dimensions. But along with that, you have to also have a really strong intuition and instinct. So you have to be selective, but I think it's also really important to be able to intuit whether an opportunity is good. Because there are moments where you have to say yes quickly based on your initial gut reaction, or the opportunity's gone forever. And I guess, like, for a super concrete example, maybe there's someone that's cute that you just met and you want to ask them out, but like you're about to leave the establishment, and then this is your chance, and so I think real life has many of those moments, it can be professionally as well, where you're presented with an opportunity and you have to quickly say like yes or no. And maybe the no isn't even always that explicit. It might even just be like you walking past that opportunity, like literally or figuratively. So what I'm learning is that I want to continue cultivating this intuition and this ability to quickly say yes or no based on what my gut is telling me in that moment. Whether it's an invitation to an event that I'm immediately like, yes, I want to go to that event, or a part of me is like, you know what, maybe I don't want to go to that event. Maybe I actually don't want to go to that event. And so I have to challenge my original way of being, of just saying like yes to things. I think now I'm getting to a point where I say like, actually, if I'm not that excited about it, I can say no to that. And that'll probably be better for everyone involved. It's better to say no than to feign interest and or to lie to yourself. So it's kind of where we are right now. Trust your gut. Be selective. Build a good team. When you're building a team, there are moments where you have the opportunity to hire someone that is just a great fit. And if you can make it happen, just, do your best to make it happen type of thing. That's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of where I've been for a little while now. This whole year, each person that I have hired in any capacity, it's been based on a gut feeling that so far has treated me well and has been a win for all involved. And so I'm going to continue operating that way. Yeah, I think that's kind of the business side right now. I'm still, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I'm still kind of on this track of like, how can I start to do a lot less coding on the client side as soon as possible? Because that is not the thing for me to be doing with my time, I think. I mean, I had this one client that I really enjoy working with, uh, and so I think I'm going to continue to make time for that. But beyond that client, I am feeling the effects of extending myself too much on external projects beyond our product studio. I want more of my time to go towards R&D internally in that product studio. So I'm making moves right now this month. So by next month, I can pretty much be off of all other client projects myself, get help where needed, that kind of thing. Or even in some cases, potentially even, fire clients. That's also acceptable. I sort of like soft fired, I don't even know how to describe it, but kind of like fired a client earlier this week. Not really, and it sounds way more serious than it actually was. It was more of just like this client had some stuff that they'd like to get done, but it wasn't burning for them, and the rates didn't make sense for us, and especially for me and some energy I was putting into it at the moment. And so we kind of just like tabled it indefinitely. So yeah, I'm learning, how I can be more effective with my time and energy. And energy is a big one too. It's kind of what I was saying earlier, where, what we offer clients isn't just like code. If anything, it's very far from that. It's not just our problem solving abilities, it's not just, all the code we're capable of writing, the tools that we know how to use. It's the security and the trust that we have. I I'm so confident in, my abilities and our abilities to execute on any given problem. And that is worth something. And it is not, you can't just compare it to some other team, you know, halfway across the world that doesn't have like the same context necessarily. They don't have the same, they're not generalists in the same way. Like, there's a lot being offered here, and it is very important to keep that in mind. On top of that, especially now that, we're in the Bay Area, at least like, I'm in the Bay Area, and the reality is everyone that I work with on my team, they're there for a reason. I trust them so much, and I think anyone who trusts me and works with me, they have to then, by extension, trust my judgment too in who I choose to work with. It is still a pretty small and lean team. And so, that's also part of it as well. Like, how many of these teams abroad can you like truly trust this level? Can you communicate to this level with? That, I mean, it's worth something. I was talking about this with someone recently, actually. This is a little bit of a tangent maybe for this video, but I think it's worth bringing up. Even in the United States, it can be so hard to find good talent, even at like high rates. And these are people that like grew up in the same country, speak the same, language natively, roughly similar, yeah, culturally, all this kind of stuff. And even then, even with all of those things right, maybe the right, set of schools too, even then, you still have so many opportunities where the hire doesn't work out. And then, you have to part ways pretty early on. I have some startups that I work with where they've had that situation happen where like they brought people on for a trial, and in a pretty short period of time, it's like, oh yeah, this is not working out. So, let's let them go type of thing. And yeah, part ways. And so, of course, when you offshore everything, like the success rate there is going to be so much lower, And so, for me and my team, like, yeah, right now, some of us are remote, but if they're working with me, there's already a lot of trust there. And everyone on my team, basically, like I've known for years, I've seen their work product. The one other engineer on my team right now, CY, I worked with her already for a few years now, and there's so much trust there. I worked with her at our previous company that we were at for a bit, Flixt. So yeah, I'm not just picking people off the shelf of like Upwork or like AngelList or any of these sites or LinkedIn. Like these are people that I've vetted, I spent time with, I've had numerous conversations with over a period of years. So I'm offering that level of security and trust to clients. So again, if they trust me, they're getting this strong, network and team as a result. And there's a lot that we offer as a team as well. Anyways, these are just some of my reflections that I've had over the past week, and part of why I do want to continue being selective, but also know how to move quickly when it comes to hires that make sense. Even if in the moment it can feel challenging, I do want to rise to those challenges and grow as a result, because so far that has treated me well. This year, I mean, again, beginning of this year, this company didn't exist. I had no intention to start this company at the beginning of the year, like in this very calendar year. Just the things opportunities lined up, and I jumped. And, boy, do I not regret that. It has been amazing. And so I continue to think, okay, well, it's worked out so far. Let me continue jumping when the right opportunity presents itself. And so, yeah, that's a long-winded way of saying that there's this engineer I've been talking to that's based in SF. So it'd be the first person that I would work with that's actually based in the Bay Area as well, and particularly in SF. And yeah, they've been challenging me in these really great ways. And I think they'd be a fantastic fit for this team. They're also just, he's such a smart generalist, interesting, introspective. Is not like following any sort of traditional path, to a 7-month long sabbatical. Like people like that always interest me, who I think, I kind of don't enjoy using the term too much because it can feel or seem pretentious, but who strike me as high agency, who think for themselves, who just follow a prescribed path, who are very intentional. I think it's just cool. I think being intentional with your time and what you do with your life is cool. So yeah, this could be interesting, and I hope it works out. Nothing's ever guaranteed, and if it doesn't work out, that's also fine too, because ultimately, it's given each of us a lot of great food for thought. So here we are. Anyways, that's the company side of things. On the personal side, not too much. I have slowed down on events, which is great. My sanity is returning. My solo time is coming back slowly. I'm being more intentional with, the people I'm spending time with, which is good. So what's coming up? I have a trip to Miami, Vancouver, and Seattle coming up. So I'm going to be leaving on Monday from SF, August 12th, heading to Miami. I will be there until that Sunday, August 18th, then flying to Vancouver. I will be in Vancouver for about 4 days or so, and then taking the bus or the train, the Amtrak, to Seattle, spend the weekend there with my sister. And then I will fly back that Sunday night, I believe, to SF. So I'm gone for 13 days. On this trip, I'm going to be seeing some family, my parents in South Florida. I'll be seeing some friends, people I really care about, and getting my stuff shipped and or brought to SF from Miami. The last of my things that I might really want here. For example, my guitar. Definitely miss having a guitar here. I have been singing still, which is good, but it's not the same. Like I miss having an instrument. So I'm excited to have that guitar again. That's life recently. This video has been a little longer than I expected for this one, actually, but here we are. Thanks for watching. This has been a fun episode for me. I hope something here was useful for you. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.